More on this, let's go to Benedict Rogers, joining us from London. He's the chief executive of Hong Kong Watch, an NGO that was established to monitor the conditions of human rights, freedoms, and the rule of law in Hong Kong. So, Benedict, is this a message China is sending to the world, that it is going to suppress dissent when it wants to and however it wants to?
Yes, that's exactly right. I mean, it is the latest step in what has been a pattern of rapidly and aggressively dismantling Hong Kong's basic freedoms. And I agree with everything that your correspondent and other speakers in the package have said. This is China sending yet another signal that it will trample on Hong Kong's freedoms.
Let's talk about some of the global responses to this. Has the world been just not tough enough on China when it comes to moves like this? Because it's been incremental.
It has been incremental, in fact, not just over the last year since the national security law, but going back over the last 5 or 6 years, we've seen a steady erosion of Hong Kong's freedoms, and then it's been much more rapid and dramatic in the last 12 months. And you're right to ask this question. I think that if the international community had responded more robustly with concrete targeted sanctions, the United States has imposed some sanctions, but Britain and others haven't yet. And I think if we continue with this just issuing condemnatory statements but no actual action to go with it, that will simply embolden the Chinese regime to continue with its approach to Hong Kong. And I fear that will embolden them then to be more aggressive towards Taiwan and towards the rest of the free world if it thinks there are no consequences for its actions.
If there is one thing we know about China, it is that it plays the long game. And clearly it wants to suppress this democracy movement, which it obviously views as a big threat. But is there a chance that these kinds of moves in the human rights sector are just going to ultimately weaken China from the inside and weaken the party itself?
Well, I think certainly there's no doubt that even though there have been very little concrete consequences, China's reputation internationally has been severely damaged, and countries, not just the United States, but Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, and even some European countries are rethinking their relationship with China because they see China completely trampling not just on Hong Kong's freedoms, but on promises made in an international treaty, and therefore threatening the international rules-based order. And I think that weakening of its reputation internationally and the growing tension in its international relations will have a domestic effect long-term, particularly as some of the US sanctions start to bite. And maybe it will begin to cause people in the Chinese Communist Party to question the hard-line approach of Xi Jingping.
All right, Benedict Rogers, thank you.